Greetings, fellow men of culture. As always, I'm broadcasting live from the peak of Thundercock Mountain. The Xbox brand is stuck between a massive gunt and a hard cock these days. Nobody wanted a Series X at its launch price, and that price has since risen 3 times, giving customers only one choice in incredibly overpriced, anti-consumer digital file players. Microsoft launched Deploy to seemingly abandon the traditional hardware model in favor of a Netflix-style subscription service in the form of Gamepass, and it was, at least initially, a huge success. For a monthly fee, users gained access to all first-party Microsoft titles, as well as over 100 third-party games at no cost beyond the monthly subscription. This was honestly a decent value if the games you intended to play on it cost more to buy than the cost of the subscription. For a time, it was considered one of the best values in gaming. It cost less than a monthly sub to World of Warcraft, at least in Canadian rupees. The problem is, Microsoft was ovulating, and they made the mistake of putting all their dry, shriveled up eggs in one basket. They went all in on Game Pass. They started advertising that since you could stream games through the Game Pass service, that any device with an internet connection and a display was now an Xbox. Not the giant fridge-looking mongoloid box that's supposed to be their flagship device. All the people that bought one can shove it between their gay little butt cheeks, I guess. Grandma's vibrator's an Xbox now.
It's just taking a walk. It's looking for a salad.
Really quick, I want to thank this video's sponsors, my channel members. Truly appreciate your belief in the channel. If you like what I do here, consider membership and come play Xbox games on Grandma's vibrator upon Thundercock Mountain. Microsoft put nearly all of their focus on making Game Pass their main thing, sticking their necks away out to pour everything they had into it. Turns out that strategy only gave them some short-term success. When the service first launched in 2017, executives had their greedy little eyes set on 77 million subscribers by 2026. The peak subscriber count that I've been able to find for the service was in February of 2024, at 34 million subscribers. Well, it's now 2026, everyone's lives are significantly worse, and the Blumpkin pie in the freezer is no good anymore. According to Microsoft executive Matthew Ball, they shed millions of subscribers in October of 2025 when they announced that butthole-puckering 50% price increase. They now sit at less than half of their goal that they set out to reach back in 2017, which leads me to believe that they were well above 34 million at some point, if that's where they landed after losing millions to the Megamind decision to increase the price so much. The Xbox division went all in on the Game Pass gamble, and it didn't work out for them. You'd think a giant company like Microsoft would know better than to stick to one singular Hail Mary strategy, but apparently nobody told that to Phil Spencer, and the whole Game Pass thing didn't meet expectations. It's not hard to see why. Microsoft went on a spending bender, buying up not only tons of small studios to populate Game Pass with content, but some of the largest companies in the industry. They purchased ZeniMax, the owners of Bethesda Softworks, which gave Microsoft ownership of Elder Scrolls, Fallout, the gold mine that is Starfield, as well as id Software, the guys behind the excellent modern Doom games. This was an acquisition that honestly quivered my sphincter at the time. I didn't think companies the size of ZeniMax would ever consider an acquisition, but then Microsoft went and also bought Activision Blizzard, maybe the biggest publisher on earth. The Xbox brand now ensconced some of the most successful and legendary studios and IPs. Having Elder Scrolls alone is a big deal, but now they owned World of Warcraft, Diablo, Call of Duty, and true crime Streets of LA. Microsoft was dropping billions on acquiring everything, with the intent to put all their IP onto Game Pass, making the service as attractive as possible. While it was a decent value for subscribers, it was horrible for Microsoft, who apparently lost over 300 million in potential retail sales from Call of Duty alone, due to those sales being replaced by the much lesser cost of a subscription to Game Pass. This prompted Microsoft to return future Call of Duty titles to the traditional retail model for a significant amount of time, before making it available on Game Pass. All of these acquisitions couldn't have resulted in a net positive for Microsoft. Several billions of dollars spent, only to have less than half of the subscribers they were aiming for. This is probably what prompted the crazy price increase, which only resulted in further millions of subscribers lost. I think the next major factor is subscription fatigue. As we rocket ever forward to the all-digital future, where you will own nothing and be happy, the tax Blarkians will hide their energon cubes in your urethra to increase their value, and everything is a subscription. Big box stores like Best Buy no longer carry Blu-rays in their brick-and-mortar locations. Walmart no longer has half a dozen $3 DVD bins lined all over the electronics section where you can buy quality movies such as Queen of the Amazons, Deathbed, The Bed That Kills People, and Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. The Titanic soundtrack on cassette is really expensive nowadays. How else am I supposed to get an emotional boner? The convenience and instant delivery of streaming media has nearly taken over actual ownership, save for those individuals that really value physical goods. The number of different subscription services was not as bad when Game Pass first launched in 2017, but in 2026, the amount of things that you can pay a monthly fee for is insane. There are 6 major platforms just for music. There are, I don't even know how many movie and TV services, some of which are so granular they only focus on one genre of movie alone. You can subscribe to Food, and its more popular sequel, Food 2. You can subscribe to Tesla so an Indian man can drive your car for you. There are sewing machines that won't sew a single stitch without an active subscription. Enticing people to subscribe to anything in 2026 is a big ask. Game Pass is now competing with hundreds of other services from all different industries, both related and unrelated to entertainment. There are far too many subscription services for every little thing. I don't think the value matters at this point. A lot of people don't want to think about yet another monthly charge to juggle with the 10 other ones. The way video games are enjoyed, as well as the habits of who enjoys them, also varies when compared to movies or music. The video game medium is one that requires active participation by the player. The main attraction is you can't just sit back and watch the cutscenes unless you seek them out on YouTube or something. When it comes to movies, the expectation is you set aside an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes more, to watch an entire film. You just have to sit there while it happens to you. While there are some walking simulator games that are as short as a movie, nearly all video games are much longer experiences. While the amount of time it takes for a player to feel satisfied with any particular game varies greatly, most people aren't committing enough time in a month to complete several games. I covered a study in a video a few months ago that found that 63% of US gamers buy 2 games or less per year. If one were to subscribe to Game Pass for a single month just to play one game that interests them, then unsubscribe, that's a good value. However, if one were to subscribe for an entire year and play only 2 or less games on the service, that value goes way down, and gamers realize this, especially in a time where everything in the hobby can be incredibly expensive. It seems for many gamers that have the means to purchase full-price games, the prospect of having to continue to pay a subscription, rather than just buying it and playing it whenever you want, isn't worth it. This holds especially true for live service games. One of the major draws of Game Pass is Diablo 4. This game has every live service thing in it, seasons and battle passes and an in-game store. This game is intended to be played for many years, with new junk added every few months to get players to return. If Diablo 4 is your main game, it makes much more sense to just buy the game and hop back on whenever you want, instead of resubscribing to Game Pass every time you get the urge to play a new season. Eventually, the cost of the subscription will surpass the cost of just buying the game, even quicker now that it's not full price anymore, and goes on sale on a regular basis. The expansions are also not included in the subscription, so you have to buy extra content for a game you don't even own. It may sound crazy to those that play lots of different games, but there are millions of people out there that only play a few games, no matter how old they are. A coworker of mine only plays Red Dead Redemption 2, and he's replayed that game several dozen times since it came out.
I'm dying, sister.
Okay?
Yeah, I got TB.
Before that, he played God of War and Days Gone for a few hours, but Red Dead 2 is his main game. Game Pass makes no sense for someone like him. For the normies that only buy Call of Duty and maybe a FIFA game every year and that's it, Game Pass is not enticing. Getting the most of your monthly subscription requires you to play several games per month, and I think Microsoft greatly overestimated the amount of people that have the free time to do that. It's not like Netflix where you can binge several movies or entire TV shows over the course of a month. If you subscribe to Game Pass, you have to lock in and start playing the shit out of whatever they have. If you commit to an entire year in advance, you set yourself up to feel like you have to play games on the service, even if you don't want to. Since you paid for it, you need to make the most out of it. Game Pass could have just stayed a moderate success to supplement Xbox's traditional hardware and retail business. Put some good titles on there, including some first-party stuff like Halo and Gears of War, but Xbox wanted it to be their main thing. They couldn't just have a solid service that their customers appreciate, they wanted all the money. To that end, they massively overextended themselves, and now they put themselves in a position where not only is their current console a failure, their solution to that is also a failure. Apparently, the Xbox brand is going to refocus on its original business model for the next generation, make a solid console at a good price, and give people a reason to actually buy it. Time will tell whether or not this actually works out for them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.